Hi everyone, and welcome to the Other World podcast. And we will be diving in this week to the energies for the 12th to the 18th of July. So welcome, Deni. I think I'm going to dive in first of all. So we're currently in week 28 of a 5-year. And so there is a lot of new energy coming in this week. So it's a great time, I think, to think about starting something new or breathing life into something that you might already be working on, or even kind of up leveling something that you've already started or you've been working on for a while. So it's all about bringing in a breath of fresh air, a new perspective, new energy. It's quite moving, this energy. So it feels as if it will be very inspiring and help you to feel more inspired and move forwards and work with that energy. So week 28 is actually a 10-week, or to be more precise, it's a 1 week. So 1 is all about new energy, creativity, and innovation. Those are kind of the key energies that you'll be working with this week. It can be very strong and very powerful. It's a very strong energy, and so it's very assertive, and it allows you to kind of adopt more of your leadership qualities or step into leadership in some way. It leads through being centered in itself. So it works very much with your I am energy. I'm stepping into a leadership role. It really is an energy that allows you to feel motivated and to take action. So it's got that kind of move. It's the only way I can describe it, really. It kind of moves you into doing things. But we also need to consider, of course, the 2 and the 8 energies of this week ahead and what they're bringing in. So 2 brings in the energy of connection or interconnection, and 8 brings in the energy of power and career and drive. So again, a very sort of moving energy. Therefore, I think this week is a really great time to consider collaboration, working together with somebody else, working with others, or working in partnership with other people. It really emphasizes the power in joining forces with other people. So how co-creation can really advance what you're working on. It can also signify the power of working with a group of people. So any group collaborations that are coming to mind at the moment are very supported in this week as well. We can, of course, think about this in terms of the power of the people, people coming together to make significant changes. So group collaboration, I think, is really good thing to think about and consider this week. What groups are you already a part of? Do you need to be more active in those groups? Or what groups are you feeling called to join at the moment? Where is your energy being guided at the moment to make a difference in the world? So this would be a really good week to just join something that is kind of close to your heart, a group maybe that you feel passionate about, that it is going to make a difference in the world, or is trying to make a difference in the world at the moment. And if you think of this energy that's supporting you now, if you think of it in terms of amplification, if you add your energy to a group that is striving to make change, then the energy of each person in that group during this week is amplified. So that's a really powerful energy to work with, I think, throughout this week. So those are the main themes really for a numerological perspective. I can't say that word very easily. And then when I drew my card this morning, as I was feeling into that, I was kind of excited because I got this card, which is the 2 of fire. And this card really signifies creativity and innovation, which is, of course, perfectly aligned to the numerology of this week. It's all about exploration and finding new paths to follow, which really kind of aligns to the new energies that are supporting you now. So I feel that it brings in the suggestion to take yourself out of your comfort zone, to sort of tread a new and different path and become inspired because you're doing something or going somewhere new and different. It guides you into exploration and looking at the world through new eyes. It's the perfect way, I think, to grow and expand your soul. And with that, I'm going to move into the message from the Akasha. I feel like I'm really rushing. I'm almost sort of working with that energy already, because I think when we're sitting in that energy, everything speeds up, everything gets really quick. And so even my words are coming out quickly today, which is very unusual for me. But the message from the Akasha this week was to think of the week ahead as an opportunity to expedite your soul's growth and expansion. So creativity isn't just about art or creating something visual. Creativity is also the act of turning new and imaginative ideas into reality. How you perceive the world in different ways, how you find new and hidden patterns in the world around you, and how you can make connections between previously unrelated situations to find new solutions are all ways to work creatively. You are creative, even if you don't consider yourself to be so. So reframe this for yourself now and embody the courage to create something new into being. Set a powerful intention today to open up to all the possibilities that are available to you now, and then let the universe serve you in this purpose. So that was a beautiful message around creativity from the Akasha today. And I'm interested to see if you speak as quickly as this as well, Deni, but I'm going to hand it over to you now to see what you have to share with us this week.
Thanks for that message, Fee. I mean, as always, when I'm listening to you, I just quickly go into the astrology, and it's amazing how the astrology and the numerology are just so intertwined. It gets me every time. And that message at the end about creation and us all being creative beings, I think that that's something that's really close to my heart, is, helping others see that, that we're all creators. We may not all be here to create paintings or poetry, but there's so many ways to be creative in our lives. So that really speaks to me as well. Thank you for that. I don't know whether I'm going to speak fast or slow. We'll see how we go. I'll try and slow myself down. We've just come out of a new moon in Cancer. So that whole beautiful seeding and beginnings and number one energy really speaks to that. It just a cut 2 days ago, so we're still sitting in that energy. So it is a beautiful time to really look at what you want to plant seeds for now for the next 6 months. Now's the time to give them a voice, to maybe do a ritual around them, but somehow or other bring them into reality by voicing them and planting them in some way. It's in Cancer, and the moon is at home in Cancer, so it's a particularly powerful new moon energy. So now's the time to really delve into those places of where you want to and what you want to create in the next 6 months. As of today, Mars and Venus are in complete conjunction with each other, and the moon is conjunct with Venus and Mars. This is a time to talk about your feelings in your relationship. Bring up what's going on. communicate with your partner, communicate what's really alive for you right now. It's a beautiful time for healing and for shifting stuff and for greater intimacy and depth in your relationship. The more we clear, I mean, over the last couple of weeks, I think we've talked about Mars and Venus both going through quite a lot with all the different conjunctions and squares that they've had and oppositions. So a lot has been cleared out of our bodies, out of our energetic beings, for us now to be a bit more clear and a bit more of a conduit for creative energy and for inspiration. Everything's in Leo right now. The sun's still in Cancer, but will be coming through to Leo next week, not this week. But Venus and Mars and the moon, they're all in Leo right now, which is that beginning energy, that place of me. So as you were saying before, Fee, with that I relate to Aries, which is the first fire sign. Leo is the second fire sign, and it is very much a me getting out and doing type of energy. It's the lion. So it's a beautiful time to put energy into creation. If that is art, then yes, but if it's just into whatever it is that stepping towards what you want to create in the world, doing some action around that. The two cards that I picked was the vow. This beautiful card, the vow. Which is, again, that place of speaking what it is. What are you willing to do to get what you want? So speaking what you want and then vowing to act in some way towards that goal. Last week, I pulled the card of what you want wants you. And I think that that is very alive this week as well. It's a time to speak what you want, to have it witnessed, and then to let it go. The second card was the prayer. The vow and the prayer have this beautiful similar energy. But I think once we've vowed to do something in the direction of our dreams, then there's time to, the prayer for me, being a someone who grew up in a Catholic, very, very Catholic family, prayer has such distinct connotations when it comes to religion. But for me, prayer is about silence and listening and allowing the messages of the universe to come to me. So whether it's by using mantra, by using song, or simply sitting in silence, that state of prayer or being open to listen to what is there in the silence, I think will be really powerful this week too, in seeding and growing our dreams and our projects over the next 6 months. Now, at the end of the week, there is an interesting exacting conjunction, which kind of feels a little bit at odds with everything else that's come before, but I'll speak to it because it feels big. We have Black Moon Lilith coming into an exact conjunction with Persephone. Black Moon Lilith, it's often said that there's 3 stages of Lilith. And if there's a third stage, it would be Black Moon Lilith. It's kind of the full power of Lilith. It is this, she's almost a conglomeration of all the dark goddess energy. So there's this brutal honesty, this sexual energy that's all about rights. It's all about equality. It's all about your sovereignty. What we deny may manifest in unhealthy ways. So it's asking us to look at some of those darker, more shadowy realms within self. Now, Black Moon Lilith is conjunct with Persephone. And the myth of Persephone is that she was, as a young girl, kidnapped by Hades or Pluto, and taken to the underworld, and kidnapped to the underworld. And then she was forced to marry Pluto or Hades and became the queen of the underworld. This speaks to that place in the feminine of going into the shadowy realms and reclaiming that dark place. So with these two dark goddesses conjunct, it feels a very powerful time for us to go into those places within self. There's this energy around Lilith or Black Moon. In order for her to help us get to our goals, it isn't that she reveals what we need in order to get to our goals. It's like she obliterates everything that stands in our way. It's that kind of energy. It's that getting to the truth by getting rid of everything that isn't true. So it feels like quite a powerful energy and a beautiful time to really go within and embrace what has previously not wanted to be looked at or embraced. What needs to be eliminated so that you can come into your full sovereign power? It feels like a really huge question this week. I'd also suggest that, when we're working in those underworld realms, that it's often not a mind thing, it's often an embodied way of being. So if you can get into some embodied practices, even if it's just putting on some music that resonates with you and moving your body to music. We're here in Sydney again in lockdown, so the practices are probably, and it's beautiful, they're going to be on your own, practices that you can find to get to those places. The one other thing to speak about is the fact that Mercury is moving into Cancer at the beginning of the week. So there is that communication thing as well. And I think, Fee, you were talking about groups and maybe if you need support, then finding a group, whether that is physically, if you're able to do that wherever you are in the world, or online, finding support, finding somewhere where you can be heard, where you can speak things and where you can have them witnessed, feels really powerful. It's me this week.
Wow, beautiful. I love the correlation between the two. I mean, I know people that work with both astrology and numerology. It's actually quite common, I think, for people to go down the path of working with both, but it's really interesting between us that we both focus on one of those and then bring them together in a slightly different way, which I love. It's always, I know we sometimes say this in the podcast, but we don't know what each other's going to say until we actually say it. So it's really lovely to have that kind of correlation as we go through the session.
I know it's one of the most joyful things for me is finding how, we don't speak before we do these podcasts. So finding how they always seem to intersect so beautifully, and how there's extra pieces that each give that can kind of give more depth to how the week may play out, or what we can do to help the week play out in a more graceful way.
Yeah, exactly that. It's beautiful.
What's happening for you, Fee, this week?
Well, we are in lockdown again, and that for me personally hasn't been an issue at all. Most of my work is done online these days anyway, so it doesn't really affect my life, but just about every single person that I love around me has been greatly affected, and that's been it's been very difficult to hold that space, but it is what it is, and we just get on with it. But you and I were having a conversation beforehand around the extremes of the time that we're in at the moment, and how we're often bombarded with a lot of extreme viewpoints on this. And there was an interesting thing that you said around this point of balance, because I think we spoke to this in the podcast last week. We were talking about how we're being observing these extreme opinions or extreme sides of different things at the moment, and how we're being asked or guided to find our own place of balance within those extreme conditions. And something you said that was reflected to you this week was finding that, you sitting comfortably in that place of balance in the middle, and someone saying that was sitting on the fence, which was an interesting perspective. I'd love you to share your thoughts around that.
Yeah, it was something that when I read it, it struck me as being so an interesting way to look, because I think I know, Fee, that balance as a word is very, very strong for you in the way that truth is for me, but also finding balance feels really important to me. I have my Mars sitting in Libra, which is that sign of balance. So when it comes to the extremes or to that kind of argument, I am really guided to find the balance in the argument. And the balance point feels really empowered. Now you take that to sitting on the fence, and that instantly it disempowers it. And just that, but so interesting that some people can see that sitting in that centered place is sitting on the fence. Yeah, it was just this really interesting piece that I wanted to bring up to you to see what you thought of it.
Yeah, and it's not a concept I've ever really thought of before, because balance, as you say, for me is a really important thing. It's my strongest driving energy. So I'm always seeking that place of balance. And to me, when I'm sitting in a place of balance, I'm in my power. And so I never think of it as fence sitting or, not taking sides, because to me balance is about seeing and observing all of the perspectives and bringing them into a place of balance within myself. And there is a lot of extremism going on in the world at the moment. We're being called to, I think, be on one side or the other of all of these different things that are rising. And I think for some people that is necessary. It's necessary to find their truth in one side or the other. But then for a lot of us as well, we're also being asked to find the balance within that place of truth. And it does bring up a question for me, which I'm going to sit with. I don't think I have a real answer around it at the moment, but it's certainly something I'm going to inner inquiry around, because I want to understand for myself, well, am I in some way framing balance as sitting on the fence? It doesn't feel like it to me, but it's definitely one to explore a little bit. Maybe we'll talk it through a bit more next week.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because also I guess in seeing the world in these polarities that we're sitting at the moment, there's very much an us and them. And that's where I sit with the discomfort, is that when you take one side, you create another side. And we don't get anywhere from that place. The only place to really find any kind of way to move is to find some balance between the two. As soon as we go to a pole, I feel like there's what are we not looking at, or what are we not accepting in the other side? Even just an allowing of the other side can be it feels like a more empowered way, or a more loving way to create change. It's big right now, and I'm, I don't have the answer, but just even sitting in that question feels like an important thing to do.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm definitely going to sit with that this week, and we'll see if it's still sitting in the energies of next week. And if it is, we can bring through our own perceptions around it, having sat with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining us again this week, and we'll see you next Monday.
Yeah. Have a good week.